Natural coral, calcium carbonate, organic, calcium carbonate, natural coral. Introduction. Corals are the product of tiny living creatures, which formed vast settlements in deep warm seas, well before humanity existed. The name coral may come from the Greek korallion, meaning the hard calcareous skeleton of the animals from which coral is composed. How are corals made by nature? By the help of water and air, and nourished by the watery substance attracted towards it by the sun and the stars, it takes its birth among the surrounding stones, its size and magnitude depending on the intensity of the planetary attractions. Natural coral 50.81% calcium oxide. Refractive index 1.491.65, calcareous, 1.491.56, conchiolin. Birefringence 0.20, calcareous. Dispersion, not applicable. Specific gravity 2.62.7, calcareous, 1.34, conchiolin. Hardness 3.5, calcareous. Class, organic. Crystal system, various. Habit, branches with radial structure. Fracture, uneven, calcareous. Luster, waxy to vitreous. Cleavage, none. Notable locations, seabeds near Hawaii, Japanese, African, Australian coasts. Color, white, red, pink, orange, blue to violet, golden, and black. Natural coral. Cutting, setting and valuing. For the purposes of jewelry, coral is either carved into beads, cameos, or other forms, or is left in its natural branch-like form and polished. It is commonly cut in cabochon, to exhibit its attractive vitreous luster. The most valued colors are those that are deep red in color, called noble coral, and pinks are also popular and expensive. Golden coral is also precious due to its rarity, and some black coral is treated with peroxide to turn it golden in color. The conchiolin corals are vulnerable species and there are limits on their collection and export. Properties and characteristics. Coral polyps, small marine invertebrates, secrete a strong calcium carbonate structure used in jewelry making. Colors usually range from red, orange, and pale pink, angel skin coral, through to a pure, saturated white. Calcareous coral, usually white, pink, red, and orange, exhibits a distinct pattern of parallel stripes, each with a vaguely different color and transparency. Conchiolin coral, made of conchiolin, an organic protein, and normally black, blue, golden, and brown, displays a concentric structure around the axis of the original branch. In most cases, golden coral displays a characteristic fine pimpled appearance as well as concentric structure and, less commonly, a weak sheen. Coral grows in the warmest seas, and is predominantly found off the coasts of Hawaii, from the Bay of Biscay through into the Mediterranean Sea, the Red Sea, and the Japanese and Australian coasts. Black coral is found off the Cameroon and Hawaiian coasts. Classification, on the basis of group, species, family, variety. Group, organic. Species coral, formed by marine organism polyp. Variety coral, calcareous white, pink, red, orange. Coral, conchiolin black, blue, golden, brown. Genesis of natural coral 25 carats. Coral coolness, beauty auspicious. Coolness, hardness, permanency of luster and beauty are the principal qualities of the coral. And those corals that possess them are auspicious. Coral Himalaya instant cure from poisoning. A deep red coral is found in the Himalaya. The wearing of it leads to instant cure from poisoning. Coral price x2 greater than pure silver. The price of a faultless coral is twice that of an equal quantity of pure silver. Coral clear auspicious antidote to poisoning. A clear, soft, cool, and finely red coral is auspicious, conduces to prosperity and is an antidote to poisoning. Coral affected by heat, acids. The corals are affected by heat and acids. Genesis of natural coral 25 carats. Marvelous and medicinal powers attributed to natural coral. Coral deepen in color if worn by man, pale if woman who is ill and likely to die. Pierre de Bosnel says that if worn by a man, it would deepen in color and look lively, and would become pale and livid, if worn by a woman or by a man who is ill and likely to die. Coral good astringent remedy for all sorts of bleedings. A dose of Nim Derm or 6 3/4 mashas of this stone is considered to be a good astringent. and a remedy for all sorts of bleedings. Coral cool slightly lustrous reckoned as vasia. That coral, vidruma, which is like the Butea frondosa, or the trumpet flower, which is cool and slightly lustrous, is reckoned a vasia. Genesis of natural coral 25 carats. Coral worn over belly cures all stomach complaints. Worn over the belly, it cures all stomach complaints. Coral stop hemorrhage if wear as pendant. It would stop hemorrhage if hung round the neck. Coral, infants stops their cries, protects from fear while asleep. Over the throat of infants, it stops their cries and protects them from fear and sudden starts while asleep. Coral process of powdering. A detailed description of the process of burning and powdering the merjan is to be found in the work known as Karabadan Kabir. Coral antidote to poisoning. A derm or 13 1/2 moshes is an antidote to all cases of poisoning. Genesis of natural coral 25 carats. Coral, cure fits throughout life. Armand de Yilanivi prescribes 10 grains of coral, to be given to an infant, in its mother's milk, provided this be the first child and its first food, in order to preserve it from epilepsy or any other fits, throughout life. Coral softness used for cameo. On account of its softness the coral is often used for cameo. Also found at the sale of the Empress Eugenie's jewels by Messrs. Grisel and Manson, 1872. Coral Bcetius de Boots cured dangerous fever by 6 drops of coral. Bcetius de Boots says that he was himself cured of a dangerous pestilential fever by taking 6 drops of tincture of coral. Coral belonging to family of polypi. The coral, the other, is the production of gelatinous creatures, belonging to the family of polypi, of which there are many varieties. The variety known as Isis nobilis, or the precious coral. Genesis of natural coral 25 carats. Coral Eastern nations turbans, swords. Coral is very profusely worn by the Eastern nations in strings, on turbans and on the handles of swords and daggers. Coral rich wear on head, scarcely Indian who does not wear coral. The rich wear the coral on their head, throat and legs. Some writers say that there is scarcely to be found an Indian who does not wear coral in some or other part of his body. Coral worn Spain, West Indian. The Chinese mix the red coral with jade beads and wear them as ornaments for the neck and head. It is also worn in Spain and in the West Indian Islands by the Negroes. Coral imitated by bone, ivory. The coral is often imitated by bone, horn, and ivory, stained with cinnabar, also by a composition of gypsum, gum and cinnabar. Particular properties of the natural coral. The coral is sour, sweet, specific for cold and biliousness, nutritious, and grace imparting, and the wearing of it is very beneficial to women. Natural coral bibliography with list of reference of works on gemstones consulted. Rulandus, Martinus, Medicina Practica. 12 Mo. Arg 1564. Bornin, Count de. Description of the corundum stone, and its varieties commonly known as Oriental ruby, sapphire. Trans. Page 223 1801. Heidinger, W., Der Fur Diamant oder nach Worthwallers Ausgegeben Topaz de Hern de Poisat. Sitzingsber, Der Kais. Akkad. 4-2. Wien 1858. Leonardus, Camillus, The Mirror of Stones, in which the nature, generative properties, virtues, and various species of more than 200 different jewels, precious, and rare stones are distinctly described. 8 Vaux. London, 1750. The Science of Gems, Jewels, Coins and Metals Ancient and Modern. By Archibald Billings M.D., A.M., F.R.S., F.R.G.S., F.R.M.S. Gems and Jewels. By Madame Heberera. The Natural History of Gems are Semi-Precious Stones. By C.W. King, M.A. Diamonds and Precious Stones. By Harry Emanuel F.R.G.S. Rudimentary Treatise on Mineralogy. By Dr. Varley. Vedanayantu, Epics in Sanskrit. Medini, Epics in Sanskrit. Jyotistatvam, Epics in Sanskrit. Brahmapuranam, Epics in Sanskrit. Sivapuranam, Epics in Sanskrit. The following ancient manuscripts relating to this subject are preserved in the British Museum and several others.